Hi, Esther. My name is Anita Casavantes Bradford. You already know
Yes.
that. I am an associate professor of history and Chicano Latino studies here at UCI, and I'm a first-gen student myself and first woman in my family to go to graduate from high school. So we're here today to talk about you and your experiences as a first-gen student. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so my name is Ester Kim. I'm double majoring in psychology and social behavior and criminology law and society, and I'm also the first person in my family to go to college as well as graduate from high school, and I guess seek a higher education within my family household. So the first generation and also the first person to go. So.
Fascinating. And you mentioned to me that you grew up in Brazil.
Yes.
Which I think is really cool, and then came to the U.S. when you were how old?
I came to the U.S. when I was 13.
Okay.
Yes.
So you're actually speaking not just as a first-gen student, but also as an immigrant student,
Yes.
right? Which I think is really interesting. When did you realize that you wanted to go to university?
That's a really hard question. However, so I always wanted to get a higher education. However, I didn't know in what field I wanted to get it in. I also didn't know what I wanted to study, and at the same time, I didn't know what career path I wanted to take in as well. But growing up, my family always worked, and my parents themselves, they didn't go to school. They didn't read. They didn't go to get a higher education or anything like that, and even my older sister didn't do it as well. And I'm the middle child from my family, and so therefore, I took on a lot of jobs. I worked since I was 18 till I was about 20 years old, and throughout that time, I was just trying to find where I fit in, what kind of job I really wanted to pursue at the end. And nothing really fulfilled me. And then afterwards, after I graduated from high school, I signed up to go to a community college in Cyprus. And I took a bunch of different courses. At first, I wanted to be a translator because I do have that cultural background. So I took in a lot of Spanish classes and French. And then all of a sudden, I found a new interest of where I wanted to be a flight attendant. So I applied for work. I applied for work at an international airport, I think, in LAX, and I worked there for a year. And all of a sudden, that didn't really fulfill me. And then so I kind of tried to stick in school and see where my niche was there. And then all of a sudden, I found psychology, and I found a really new interest in it. And with it, I was just like, oh, maybe I can really do something with it and help the community and really serve the people that I want to serve. And also an interesting fact about that is that I have a personal background with experience with domestic violence. And I thought that pursuing a career in this field of psychology would help me, become a voice to those who have been in the same situation as me. Hopefully help victims of domestic violence as well as their children, and advocate for them to have a better lifestyle. And also I'm really pro rehabilitation for those who are abusers as well, in order for them to integrate into our society in the future. Yeah.
So you went into community college already with just a really rich background, and also a really challenging background, right? You were an immigrant, you had difficulties in your household, right? And those things kind of led you towards the field of psychology.
Yes.
Now, talk to me about your journey from community college to UCI. How did you end up here?
Yeah, that's really okay. So when after I graduated from Cyprus College, I applied to various schools, and then I got into Cal State Long Beach, Fullerton, and UCI, and my mind was between Cal State Long Beach and UCI. I knew that coming to UCI would give me a lot of resources that a Cal State wouldn't give me. For example, when I spoke to one of my professors, they told me that most classes that are taught at a Cal State, it's mainly like a graduate student instead of a professor. And just seeing all those I guess like just relating those ups and downs between a Cal State and a UC sort of helped me see that, oh, maybe I should go to a UC for to get in my undergrad, and also because UCI is also heavily known to be a research-based campus, and I really like that. I really like that the fact that it introduced students to that aspect of of an undergraduate program, because it's also helpful for students to go get a graduate degree, because PhDs are really heavily based on research. So it would be a really good, I guess, first introduction for me, and see whether or not I want to get that degree after I graduate here.
So you were already thinking about graduate school,
Yes,
even when you were at community college.
Yeah, I mean, wanting to be a psychology major, I just want to get the best of it that everything has to offer, like that the schools have to offer me. So I do want the higher degree. I do want to go above and beyond. I do want to, get everything that it has to offer me, and at the same time, after I reach that level of professionalism, I also want to give into my community, give them everything that they need as well. And in my mind, I just thought that, getting a PhD degree, a graduate degree, was the way to go for me. And at the same time, if I'm here, then why not? Why not go all the way, and then yeah, reach my goals and my dreams and things like that.
So what would you say to first-gen students who might think that because they are low income or because no one in their family has gone to college, that just getting to university is already as far as they can go, and that graduate school is it's not for people like us, right? What would you say to those students?
So lately I've been thinking a lot about graduate school, and there's so many options out there. I was thinking whether or not I wanted to get a master's or PhD at first, so I went to talk with a lot of professors as well as the counselors from the transfer center. And the counselors from the transfer center told me that, because most of them have a master's program, and one of them told me that not all master's programs are funded. However, you shouldn't limit yourself into applying them, because in some master's program they can actually help you pay for your master's degree by working for the campus, or if you are, like you said, like low income, they do have a program for where students only pay a co-pay of $300 or something, and the school pays for the rest. And also, all PhD programs, or most of them, are funded, so students don't even have to pay out of pocket. What would they have to do would, give TA hours, work for the campus, and do their own research. So everything's funded, everything there is a way. I myself thought that I was so limited because I myself don't have the funds to, or my family doesn't either. And as I said before, as I am an immigrant student, I don't get all the funds of the government, but at the same time, because I do have the residency of California, I do get some. And yeah, I would tell them to not limit themselves, to not think that they can't get it, they can't do it, because there's always a way, and there's so many opportunities that if they don't apply, then they're gonna miss out on so much. And to think that, to just give up on their dreams because of one problem, such as their financial means, it's not worth it,
Yeah, that's something that I didn't know, being a first-gen student who had no idea about graduate school. I didn't know that almost all PhD programs are funded. So if you are talented enough and you've worked hard enough and you have the right GPA and the right application package and you're accepted, in most cases, they will offer you funding. A combination of fellowships, grants, usually to work as a teacher's assistant at TA. And that program is self-funding, right? You do not have to pay out of pocket usually for a PhD. I didn't know that. And it was such an eye-opener to me, because I learned that 15 years too late, right? I did my bachelor's degree, and then I got a teaching certificate and went to teach high school because I was really focused on getting a job, right? And then I taught, and I loved my career, but then after saving money to go to graduate school, I applied and realized that, oh, actually it's going to be funded, right? And so I don't think of those years that I spent teaching high school at all as a waste, but on the other hand, I think it's a really important message to first-gen undergrads that if they are interested in graduate school, to not think that, no, I can't do that, right? That, like you said, those options, those opportunities really are out there.
Yeah, and I think you bring up a really good question of, first generation students are not really educated in this department, that, a higher education doesn't really need all the money that you need to have in order to be there. And that's something that a lot of first generation students don't know, and that's something that I didn't know myself. And that's something that I'm glad that I got to know it at the right time as an undergraduate student at UC Irvine. I'm glad that the resources that UCI offers have really educated me in this department, as well as others. So yeah, a lot of first generation students kind of miss out on that just because they're stressed about other things, which are very important. But like I said before, there's always a way. Yeah.
So let's talk about succeeding, because you're succeeding here and you have fantastic future goals, and I'm completely confident that you're going to achieve them, right? Let's talk about like the nuts and bolts. What does the incoming first-gen student who's facing their first quarter here at UCI, what do they need to do to succeed here? And maybe not just to succeed academically, but to be happy here.
In order for first-generation students to succeed, I think they have to come in with an open mind. When you first come into any university, not just UCI, you are just bombarded with a lot of culture, traditions, and just a lot of things. And when you have an open mind, and what my mentor Monica told me this too, when you trust the pathway that it comes to you, then everything is just gonna flow. So it's good for students to come in with an open mind and know that everything's gonna work out well. And if they do feel stressed out, if they do feel, I don't know, nervous, or if they feel that they can't deal with something, then there are always resources on campus that are there to help them grow. And I was just also, so I guess my advice would be to come open-minded into the classes that you're about to learn, the professors that you're going to meet, the people that you're going to meet, and to also, one thing that I would like to add is to networking, like build on your networking skills, because that's where you're going to be able to find jobs, career opportunities, educational opportunities, and research. Build on your communication skills a lot. And if you don't have those yet formed, this campus is going to offer that to you regardless.
So where are 3 places on campus, like specific places that first-gen students can go to learn how to be better communicators, or to meet, people who are different from them, or where are some of those spaces for opportunities?
Yes. So one of them are the Cross-Cultural Center. If you go there, there's so many people that come from various backgrounds, and they're so open-minded into bringing you into their own culture and teaching you about, certain aspects of their culture, as well as they're so open-minded into learning about you and also integrating who you are and your background. And then the second place would be the Career Center. They offer so many tips on how to write your resume, your CV, which is your curriculum vitae, how to have interviews. They sit down one-on-one with you and have like mock interviews with you. They tell you what are your good, I guess like your, I forgot the word I was gonna say, but like your strengths and your weaknesses. They go over everything. And the third place that I would like to also add would be the Counseling Center. For students to succeed in any campus, not just UCI, they should make good use of the Counseling Center, just because we do get so stressed out. And me, for example, I have anxiety issues. And I have like sometimes I can't control it, and I have physical symptoms as well. Like I shake at times. I'm trying really hard to like stay here, but
Yeah.
the counseling center helps you grow in that aspect of your stress. If you have anxiety, they go over, they go over everything that's making you feel that way, and in addition, they give you so many guides and like alternative ways to deal with it. And at the same time, they're also professionals in their field. You can work either with a professional in the field of psychology or counseling, or with a peer educator whom students may feel more comfortable with because they're a peer of their age who are going through the same thing as well. So those are the three resources that have really helped me grow at UCI, and that have helped me not grow in UCI particular, but into my life, into my real everyday life, into my personal life as well.
I think that's really important, right? Because when you're at university, your life doesn't stop.
Yeah.
Right? You're still a person.
Yes.
You still have feelings. You're still growing and developing emotionally. And I'm glad you raised the question of anxiety, or of just kind of mental health, emotional well-being, because a lot of students, first gen and non-first gen, deal with depression, deal with anxiety when they're at university, right? And knowing that there are counseling services here, and just being able to go and saying to a counselor or a peer educator, I'm depressed, or I'm anxious and I'm stressed and I can't sleep, I'm having insomnia, and having someone say, well, you're not the only one.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with you, right?
Right.
Welcome to one of the most stressful experiences of your young life, right? Going to college, but also one of the most wonderful experiences, right? So I think that's really important. What about the first gen student who's coming in for their first quarter and is trying to be proactive about succeeding academically? Because that first quarter is really hard, right?
Yes.
So many first gen students come in, and through no fault of their own, they make decisions about that first quarter that make it hard for them to keep their GPA up, right? What would you do differently now that you have been a student for a few years? How would you handle that first quarter differently?
So if I was myself then...
Yeah, let's imagine you're entering your first quarter at UCI. What would you do differently?
So many things. Better time manage, find better time management skills, not procrastinate, because that's a big thing in every college. I mean, not even college students, but every student. We tend to procrastinate because we think that other things are more important than like submitting an assignment or something like that. So have better time management skills, learn how to not procrastinate, as well as learn how to work with peers, because something that I learned from being in a program at UCI called Summer Academic Enrichment Program, SAP, is that you should work with a peer, because in a career, when you're in the professional environment, you are actually working with others, so you're never working with yourself. Everything that you want to do, like even if, for example, policies that you want to change, you actually have to work with people in order to get what you want.
Right.
So that's something that I would have liked to have changed, because I'm the type of person who is really introverted, and I like being by myself, doing things by myself.
You don't like group work?
No, I don't.
Yeah, I didn't like group work either when I was an undergrad, and then big surprise, you go into the work world and everything is group work, right?
Everything has to do with people coming together, and like brainstorming things. So that's another thing that I would have worked on. And also have different study skills, because I feel like the study skills that I have built now are so different than before, or my first quarter here at UCI. For example, like I said before, I'm really introverted and I used to like to study by myself, but actually working with a group of people helps you, first of all, interpret the text differently and actually really get to know what it means. Because sometimes when you read something, you have one idea, but someone else has another idea, so you actually get to brainstorm in a group setting. On top of that, you actually get to get feedbacks and run, like I said before, run ideas between one another. and also see the type of questions that you have that other people might also have. Also, it kind of builds your confidence in a way when you're working with someone else, because you get this whole range of ideas put together in one room discussing it, and it's not only beneficial to you but to the whole group as well, and to also like your character, like, it builds on your character and your learning, and I guess there's not right now to me, there's not much anything better than that, than like really bouncing back off ideas and learning from one another. Yeah, because I mean, you're not only learning from a professor, and also because classrooms here are like 300 students, and you are not always able to get that one-on-one connection with the professors. So by having these group studies, you also get to study with other peers, and yeah, so those are really all the elements that I would like to have changed when I first got it.
So any final thoughts or words of encouragement for incoming first-gen students?
I would just say to, like I said before, to really trust the path that you're in. It's going to be really beneficial to them. Just to trust it and then go with it. Don't look back. You're in a good place. As an undergraduate student, you're going to learn so many things. You're going to be involved in so many things, and so many resources, opportunities are going to come to you, and just make really good use out of it. Just apply to every opportunity that comes your way. Just get yourself out there. Be someone that can grow within this environment, because there's no other place where that first generation students are going to able to really make really good use out of it, unless they really put themselves out there. And yeah, UCI rocks. I just wanted to say that it has helped me in so many ways that hopefully one day I'll be able to return the gift that they gave me. And as a peer educator at the Transfer Center, hopefully I'll be able to do that for new incoming students.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I agree with you. UCI does rock.
Yes.
Thank you, Esther.
Thank you. Oh my God.